Good Friday afternoon, Southwest Florida. Welcome to the Larry Timko Show on 1070 NBC Sports, broadcasting live from our law offices of Andajar and Levine Studios here in Port Charlotte. My co-host, Bill Siebert, in studio with us as we talk a lot of football today. We'll have Keith Larson calling in here in just a couple minutes with our Bucks report. I'm sure he's wearing his Nick Folk jersey. And Michael Mack.
Don't even get me started.
Right, we're going to get you started.
Yeah, I know.
And Michael Mack will be joining us here in a little bit. He's performing at Vasani's all weekend long. Oh, it's going to be a fun time. Michael Mack, one of my favorite comedians. And if you don't know about the Puppets of Rock, well, then you're out of the loop, and you need to get in that loop. So log on to Vasani.net to get your tickets or call 941-629-9191. And we'll also make our NFL picks. The 4 o'clock games is where we left off. Don't forget to make your picks. Even though if you missed last night's game, you can still catch up. Just log on to 1070NBCSports.com and look for the 2017 NFL Pro Football Pick'em Challenge. All right, Bill.
Yeah.
Go ahead and vent for a minute or two until Keith calls in.
Well, first things first, Dirk Cutter coming out and saying we're not going to make any rash decisions on Nick Folk. Are you freaking kidding me? The guy should be on the street looking for a job right now. I'm sorry.
Honestly, I thought he'd get cut
the
last
guy
night.
on the NFL Network last night, I don't know who it was. Pardon me for not knowing who it was. I was still just completely.
You're emotional.
Oh, my God. Let me tell you something. I'd rather see our punter go out there and kick field goals than this bum. All right?
Here you go.
And Aguayo, you know what? I'd rather have Aguayo than this bum anyway, to be honest
I don't know
with
about
you.
that.
No, I do. At least Aguayo can make a 31-yard field
1070
goal.
NBC Sports. How are you? Hello?
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, Keith.
How we doing, guys?
Oh, I'm doing better than Bill.
I'm a little suicidal this morning, maybe.
He's very emotional after last night's game.
I'm extremely distraught. I think that's a good word.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and all agree that kicking hates the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. You know, we're cursed since Connor Barth. That's really been the whole start of this thing. Connor Barth getting hurt on a non-football injury, and then the Bucs just basically cutting ties with him altogether. It's almost like that's cursed us. Ever since then, we can't find a kicker.
I'm taking it one step further. I'm going after your special teams coach, your kicking coach.
Yeah. I mean, you can do that too, in my opinion.
Whoever is evaluating the talent of kickers for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers probably themselves should be kicked.
Yeah, and, I mean, I got to say this real quick. I'm sorry, Keith. I got to say this real quick. I mean, Jason Light, in 2 years, he's dropped the ball twice now. I mean, you got to admit that. He drafted a kicker in the second round who is no longer even on the team, for crying out loud, last year. And now this year with the tight end of O.J. Howard, I'm a little bit upset that we took him in the first round, that we couldn't find a better player to take than O.J. Howard in the first round.
You liked him earlier.
No, I told you I was a Dalvin Cook guy from the get-go.
But you were all right with O.J. Howard?
No, I wasn't all right with O.J.
I'll
Howard.
have to play back some old tape.
Deep down.
Did you guys mark that tape?
I did.
My frustration lies in the fact is if you're going to draft out Howard at 19 like we did, maybe utilize him. He had, 7 or 8 snaps last night?
Two key penalties,
well,
too.
And then the big one, in my opinion, is why was he even on the field on that last play? And then, let alone Winston throws the ball to him. He's not even looking at the guy. I mean, the guy has problem running routes anyway, and we stick him on the field on the last play of the game? That was another decision I was not happy with Coach Cutter.
That's why you have Mike Evans.
Exactly. You know, I hear you.
Oh, I have a lot of complaints.
Well,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Keith.
I have to give credit to the Patriots defense. They pretty much did double coverage on Evans and locked him down all game. But that's why we signed Deshaun. That's why we drafted OJ. But if you watch the game last night, our most reliable receiver was Adam Humphries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Cameron Brate dropped 2 passes.
I agree. Adam Humphries was great last night. He was our most consistent guy.
And my issue with, and I was just talking to one of my friends over here before I called you guys. The first 3 quarters and a half, or at least the first 3 quarters, I think we ran 5 or 6 plays just over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very vanilla offense.
Yeah,
I said that
and
last
then
night
when you get to the fourth quarter and you take the reins off of the offense and run that 2-minute drill, lo and behold, we're marching up and down the field.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
that's the coaching to me.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Yeah. And I said that last night, too, as I'm watching the game. And literally in the third quarter, I said to myself, I was just like, man, the play calling has just been so – and I paused and I said, vanilla. And it's just ironic that you use that exact word that I used last night. I mean, literally. And I mean, and I will say this: you got to give credit to our defense.
Yeah,
our defense held the Patriots, which is my opinion, one of the best offenses in football, with or without Gronkowski on the field or not. Held them down to 19 points. I mean, nobody's done that yet this year. Has anybody even done that this year? Held them to under 20 points?
No.
And you got to give that without Quan, without Levante, without 4 starters on that defense. Those kids stepped up, man. Those kids played a heck of a game, man. I'm sorry it got wasted.
I want to point out, and this goes back to Jason Light and a combination of Dirk Cutter. Okay, you drafted Vernon Hargraves, who's a press corner, and you have him playing 10 to 12 yards off the receiver every down.
Yeah.
It's 3rd and 5, and he's giving a 12-yard cushion. I can complete that pass.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. I agree with you 100%. I saw that too. I've seen that too.
All right.
And if you're gonna play soft coverage like that, then by God, the receivers have to make the tackle then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my team. Go ahead. Sorry.
And Vernon Hargraves and Brent Grimes, that's not what they do. Not saying they can't tackle, but they're both press. They're both contest the ball in the air, and every time the ball's thrown their way, they're 5 yards off the receiver. I have yet to see in the past 2 weeks Vernon Hargraves go up and contest the ball. Mm-hmm. Why? Because he's half a field away from the guy when they snap it.
Yeah, no, great point.
Yep.
Brady went out there and went Joe Montana and dink and dunked us.
Yeah.
Oh, he totally
did. Dinked and dunked us all night long, man. He absolutely.
Yep, he sure did. And he did it with 4 receivers basically the whole night.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, my biggest...
And no running game.
And no running game.
Yeah.
Nope.
No running game at all. And New England had like 70 yards running the whole game.
Yeah, and speaking of running game, that's my biggest issue too, is why didn't we stick with the running game? Doug Martin was effective. 11 carries, 70-plus yards. I know he's probably not in football shape, but
I think he was out of gas.
But, I mean, if they would have stuck to the running game, I think we would have won this game. And my other big beat, too, is on 3rd down. Instead of trying to pick up the first down, I'm seeing Jameis launch 20, 25 yards downfield. Mm-hmm. On 3rd down, man, come on. All you need is 5-6 yards to pick up the first down, and I think that was a big issue and why they couldn't convert for the first 3 quarters.
Well, I saw, and here's the thing. I'm not, and you can tell by the posts I put on social media, Winston had a bad game. Yeah. We can't deny that. Yeah, but when your quarterback is a little off on his accuracy, but he's still hitting you in the hands.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Catch the ball. Yep. I was raised, and I'm sure you guys were too. If you can touch it, you can catch it.
Yep.
Yeah, and Doug Martin, that's how many drops did Doug Martin have last night that would have been first downs?
On Doug?
And that's my thing.
No, Doug Martin had about 3 or 4 drops that would have been first downs.
I saw Bray drop a couple.
Yeah, Bray dropped a couple as well, too. He sure did.
And they got away from Mike Evans.
One of them in the end zone.
Mike, your number one guy is Mike Evans. You're the guy you should be targeting in the end zone of the last play of the game. Not O.J. Howard in the middle of the field. Yeah. Double, triple covered. Jeez. I don't know.
I don't understand the offense, and my point is if the offense was just being run that way and it was an anemic all game, then okay, maybe we need to work on our offense and our skill. But in the past 2 games, when you've taken the reins off the offense in the 2-minute drill in the 4th quarter, we've marched up and down the field on the Giants and the Patriots.
Mm-hmm. And another thing, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, so maybe come out of the tunnel with the 2-minute offense.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny that you bring that up because I was actually talking to a friend of mine before I came in here, and we were talking about how Deshaun Jackson has really been inept in this offense, so to speak, and about how him and Jameis kept saying during, Hard Knocks about how we're going to get on the same page, we're going to be there, we're going to be there. Well, we're not there. I mean, yeah, he had 100 yards last night, but that's only because of 2 plays that he had. One, I think, was like 60. The other one was like 40, I believe it was, or something like that. He had those 2 big receptions, one of them in garbage time, really in that 4th quarter, where we were just trying to play catch-up in that 2-minute offense. But them 2 have to get on the same page for this offense to click. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm a firm believer in that. I was a firm believer in that coming into the season, and I really think that's a big problem with our offense right now is these 2 can't get on the same page.
You have to preface that with, or at least mention, in all fairness, that Winston was able to develop a rapport or chemistry with Evans, with Brate, with Humphreys, with Vincent Jackson, for crying out loud.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So who's the person not helping with the chemistry? Is it Winston or is it Deshaun Jackson?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, and that's what we got to find out. I mean, that's, in my opinion, I think it's a big thing to get this guy going. I mean, if this offense is not going to click on all cylinders if he's not going.
And the thing is, Deshaun Jackson's big. What was attractive to us as fans, and obviously the coaching staff, is the speed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's great. So why is he running a 2-yard curl?
Yeah.
Because you're expecting him to break a tackle then. And if you look at him, he's one of our smallest guys.
He's a guy that we need to hit on these slant routes and routes like that, these little go routes and whatnot, correct?
Absolutely. And that's the thing. We also know that he has a bit of an attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
We've seen it play out on the field. We've seen him whining and bitching and moaning. We see it rubbing off on Mike Evans. And that's my concern. If this Deshaun Jackson experiment doesn't work out, that's fine, but you can't let it sit there and fester long enough that now Evans is absorbing that kind of mentality of, if the ball's not perfectly placed, it's not my fault. No, dude, you get paid to catch the ball.
Yeah.
If the ball's a foot off the ground or 6 feet off the ground, if it hits you in the hands, catch it.
Yeah. Hey, I got another question for you too, and this one's really about the coaching. On that on that 4th and 2 that was in the really right at the start of the fourth quarter, where Cutter decided to go ahead and send Folk out on the field for a 49-yard field goal instead of going for it.
4th and 1.
I believe it was Nance and Romo that were doing the game, which Tony Romo did a really good job color commentating, by the way.
Trying to sound like Gruden.
Yeah, he did a good job, though. But anyway, getting back to my point. On that 4th and 2, I'm screaming in my living room to go for it. And Nance even said, I don't know. He's like, with the confidence and the lack of confidence in your kicker right now, even he mentioned the fact that maybe they should go for this. And what was your opinion on that? Do you feel like we should have gone for that, or did Cutter make the right call and send him out on the field knowing that there's a good chance he's going to miss that 49-yard field goal?
Well, here's the thing. We don't even have to talk about last night's game. I've been saying since the Giants game and during the Giants game, on 4th and short inside, on the other side of the field, on the opponent's side of the field, with the way our kicker is, you go for it.
Yeah, man.
Okay? How many times can you keep trotting out that kicker on 4th and short and missing a kick? And it's not only that you miss the kick, but now you give the ball to the opposing team in great field position.
Yeah, even better field position than it would have been if we would have gone for it and not gotten it. I mean, really, to be honest with you, give them about 7 more yards that way. And not only that, you look at the others. All you got to do in that situation is look at the other sideline and say, okay, what would that guy do right now in this situation? He would go for it. Belichick was probably laughing it up when we sent Folk on the field on that play, because he knows deep down he would have gone for that.
That's what I don't get. And is it because last week he trotted Folk back out there and he made the game-winning kick? So he's like, well, maybe I just got to keep putting him out there. That's fine, but in the meantime, you're crushing the rest of the team.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody on that Buccaneers sideline went, all right, Folk's going in. That doesn't happen.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, some of the faces on that team when he did trot out of the field were actually the complete other way. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yep.
And I really thought one of those times they trotted him out there on 4th and short, they were going to fake it.
I don't know.
And then the whole decision to or not to onside kick and all that stuff. Look, guys, the fact of the matter is our quarterback didn't have a great game. Our receivers didn't have a great game. But here we are against the defending champions, still in the ball game.
Yeah, yeah. Our defense kept us in it, man. They really did.
So why do you keep trotting out the one guy who is not performing at all? It's kind of like, hey, we've got Dan Marino quarterback, but you know what? Let's let Ray Finkel go ahead and kick instead.
Yeah.
Well, Dan Carpenter is going to be down there this weekend along with Mike Nugent and Travis Coons and any other free agent kicker in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and it's like the point I made this morning. I mean, I can't believe he's still on this football team, to be honest with you. And the fact now I hear that we are looking at kickers, but I mean, I don't care. That's what I'm hearing is that we are looking at kickers, but
Cutter was non-committal.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But I mean, I don't know what's going on with this, Keith. Can you give us any insight, maybe on?
I think Cutter and Light are defending their decision to move away from Maguire and go to this kicker. That said, the best kicker on the sidelines yesterday was Jay Feely in the end zone reporting.
True. Yeah, you ain't kidding.
Really
well,
was.
Like I said earlier, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing our punter go out there and kick a field goal, to be honest with you. I wouldn't mind. I think he could have made that 31-yarder last night that Folk missed that took us completely out of that game.